You know what's absolutely wild? Right now, as you're watching this, millions of people are scrolling through endless before and after photos, transformation videos, makeover content, and they literally cannot stop. And here's the kicker, neither can you, right? I mean, think about it. When was the last time you saw a 30-day transformation thumbnail and just scrolled past? Yeah, exactly. There's something almost hypnotic about these videos, and today we're going to dive deep into the psychological machinery that's working behind the scenes, because what I discovered is honestly kind of disturbing. The dopamine hijack, why your brain is literally addicted. Let's start with what's actually happening in your brain when you click on transformation content. Dr. Anna Lembke from Stanford Medical School, she's basically the leading expert on dopamine and addiction. Her research shows that our brains are wired to seek out dramatic changes and contrasts. And transformation videos? They're like dopamine crack. Here's the thing, when you see a before and after image, your brain experiences what neuroscientists call a prediction error spike. Essentially, your neural pathways are constantly trying to predict what's coming next, and transformation content creates this massive gap between expectation and reality. Your dopamine neurons fire like crazy because they literally cannot compute the dramatic change they're witnessing. But here's where it gets dark. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Behavioral Addictions found that people who regularly consume transformation content show similar neural activation patterns to those with gambling addictions. We're not just entertained, we're chemically hooked. Think about your own viewing habits for a second. You start with one fitness transformation video, then suddenly it's 2 a.m., and you're watching someone organize their entire life in 24 hours. Sound familiar? That's not a coincidence, that's your reward system being systematically hijacked. The comparison trap, how we measure our worth. Now, this is where transformation content gets really psychologically manipulative, and it all comes back to something called social comparison theory. Leon Festinger identified this back in 1954. Basically, humans have this deep, almost primal need to evaluate ourselves relative to others. We literally cannot help it. Transformation videos weaponize this fundamental aspect of human psychology. Dr. Rachel Calogero's research at the University of Western Ontario shows that before and after content triggers what she calls upward social comparisons, where we measure ourselves against people who appear to be doing better than us. But here's what's really messed up about this. These videos create a completely false comparison framework. You're comparing your everyday reality, your messy room, your work stress, your body on a random Tuesday to someone's absolute peak transformation moment. It's like comparing a rough draft to a published novel, but your brain doesn't know the difference. A fascinating study from the University of Pennsylvania tracked people's mood before and after consuming transformation content. The results were staggering. 78% of participants reported feeling worse about their own lives immediately after viewing, yet they kept watching anyway. That's the psychological trap in action. The fantasy of instant change, why we crave the impossible. Here's something most people don't realize about transformation obsession. It's not really about the transformations themselves. It's about what these videos represent, the fantasy that dramatic change is not only possible, but easy and quick. Dr. Gabrielle Oettingen from NYU has spent decades researching what she calls positive fantasizing, our tendency to imagine ideal outcomes without considering the effort required. Transformation videos feed directly into this psychological pattern. They show you the end result while glossing over the months or years of work that actually created the change. I'll give you a personal example that really drives this home. Last month, I watched this home renovation transformation, you know the type, transforming my apartment in 48 hours. The final result looked incredible, right? But then I started noticing things. The before shots were obviously staged to look worse. The person had a full team of professionals. They spent thousands of dollars on materials that weren't mentioned. And most telling? Their social media showed they'd been planning and preparing for weeks. But in that 12-minute video, all you see is magic. And your brain, desperate for that same magic in your own life, eats it up. The dark side, when inspiration becomes obsession. Now, here's where transformation content crosses the line from motivational to potentially harmful. Dr. Tim Kasser's research on materialism and well-being shows that excessive focus on external changes, appearance, possessions, status actually correlates with increased anxiety and decreased life satisfaction. Transformation videos often promote what psychologists call conditional self-worth, the idea that you're only valuable if you're constantly improving, constantly changing, constantly becoming a better version of yourself. But here's the psychological reality. This mindset creates a perpetual state of dissatisfaction where you're never enough as you are right now. A 2022 study from the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health found that heavy consumers of transformation content were significantly more likely to experience what they termed improvement anxiety, a chronic feeling that you should be doing more to change yourself, even when you're perfectly fine as you are. And look, I get it. Life can feel stuck sometimes. We all want to grow, to improve, to become better versions of ourselves. That's completely human and healthy. But transformation content sells us the lie that change should be dramatic, visible, and fast when real. Meaningful change is usually gradual, internal, and takes time. The algorithm's role. How platforms amplify the obsession. Here's something that'll probably make you never look at your social media feeds the same way again. The algorithms on every major platform are specifically designed to keep you in what researchers call engagement loops, and transformation content is absolute gold for these systems. Dr. Guillaume Chaslot, former YouTube algorithm engineer, has spoken extensively about how recommendation systems prioritize content that creates strong emotional reactions. Transformation videos are perfect because they trigger multiple psychological responses simultaneously: envy, hope, self-doubt, motivation, comparison. It's like an emotional roller coaster that the algorithm can ride to keep you watching. But here's what's really sinister. The algorithm doesn't care if these emotions are healthy for you. It only cares about engagement time, so it learns to show you increasingly extreme transformations, more dramatic before and afters, more impossible seeming changes. You start with modest fitness progress videos and end up watching people completely reconstruct their entire lives in unrealistic timeframes. The platforms have essentially gamified self-improvement, turning personal growth into a spectator sport where the house always wins because the house is the attention economy, and your dissatisfaction with your own pace of change keeps you coming back for more content. A different perspective. The hidden value in transformation content. Now, before you think I'm completely against transformation content, let me present the other side of this coin, because there are some genuinely positive aspects that we need to acknowledge. Dr. Albert Bandura's social learning theory suggests that we learn behaviors by observing others. In this context, transformation videos can provide valuable modeling for people who genuinely want to make changes in their lives. Seeing someone successfully complete a fitness journey, organize their space, or develop a new skill can provide both inspiration and practical knowledge. A 2021 study from the Journal of Health Communication found that transformation content, when consumed mindfully, could increase self-efficacy, people's belief in their ability to make positive changes. The key word here is mindfully. Some creators are genuinely transparent about their process, show the failures alongside the successes, and provide realistic timelines. These videos can be incredibly valuable resources for people looking to make similar changes in their own lives. The problem isn't transformation content itself, it's our relationship with it and how the platforms serve it to us. When we consume this content passively, as entertainment rather than education, that's when it becomes psychologically problematic. Finding balance, a healthier relationship with change. So how do we navigate this landscape without falling into the psychological traps? The research actually gives us some pretty clear guidance. First, Dr. Krista Neff's work on self-compassion shows that treating yourself with kindness during your own change process is far more effective than the harsh self-criticism that transformation content often promotes. Real change happens when you're motivated by self-care, not self-punishment. Second, focus on process over outcome. Dr. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset demonstrates that celebrating small improvements and learning from setbacks creates more sustainable change than fixating on dramatic end results. Here's what I've started doing, and maybe it'll help you too. When I watch transformation content now, I actively look for the process. What specific actions did this person take? How long did each step actually take? What challenges did they face that weren't shown in the final edit? This shifts my brain from passive consumption to active learning. And honestly, sometimes I just acknowledge that I'm watching transformation content as pure entertainment, like watching a magic show. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the spectacle, as long as you remember it's a show, not a reflection of how change actually works in real life. The bigger question, what our obsession really reveals. But here's what I think our collective obsession with transformation content really reveals about us as humans. We're living in an era of unprecedented change anxiety. The world around us is transforming so rapidly: technology, climate, social structures, economic systems, that we feel this desperate need to prove we can change too, that we can keep up, that we can control at least some aspect of our lives through dramatic self-improvement. Transformation videos provide a fantasy of agency in a world that often feels chaotic, and unpredictable. They promise that if you just follow the right steps, in the right order, for the right amount of time, you can completely reinvent yourself. It's a seductive antidote to the feeling that life is happening to you rather than being shaped by you. But maybe, and this is just a thought, maybe the real transformation we need isn't about changing ourselves to match some external ideal. Maybe it's about developing a more compassionate relationship with who we already are, while staying open to natural growth and evolution. I mean, think about the people in your life who you genuinely admire and respect. Are they people who have had dramatic transformations, or are they people who have consistently shown up as themselves, grown gradually over time, and treated others with kindness? The research on long-term happiness and life satisfaction consistently shows that the most fulfilled people aren't those who have undergone the most dramatic changes. They're people who have developed strong relationships, found meaning in their work, and learned to appreciate what they have while working toward what they want. The real transformation, changing how we see change. So here's my challenge to you and to myself. What if we transformed our relationship with transformation itself? What if instead of seeking dramatic, visible changes that look good on social media, we focused on the quiet, steady improvements that actually improve our daily experience of life? What if we celebrated the person who's been consistently going to therapy for 6 months over the person who claims to have completely changed their mindset in 30 days? What if we valued the friend who's been gradually improving their communication skills over the influencer who promises a total personality makeover? The most profound transformation might be learning to see our current selves not as a before photo waiting to become an after, but as human beings worthy of respect and love right now, in this moment, while we're still growing and learning and figuring things out. Because here's the truth that transformation content doesn't want you to know: you're not broken. You don't need fixing. You're a person in process, and that's exactly what you're supposed to be. The real question isn't how quickly you can transform yourself, it's whether you can learn to love yourself enough to grow at your own pace, in your own way, for your own reasons. And that, honestly, might be the most radical transformation of all.